Hey y'all, this is Captain B-Rye. So last night I had the ambition of getting about 3 UI components hacked up. Get that done. I actually ended up getting half of one of them done. But if you've been in game dev, you know that that's probably typical because I got stuck on using the SDL underscore TTF library. Documentation was a bit outdated, and I tried to follow that documentation, and it wasn't so good. So I had to mess around, and I came up with a solution wherein every time I render a bit of text, I create a surface, render the text to that with SDL underscore TTF, and then create a new texture that gets that that gets blitted from the surface to the texture, and then the texture ultimately gets render copied to the screen, and then the surface is released, and then the texture is released. I'm kind of wary about this approach because I don't know if I should be creating surfaces and textures on a frame basis. I'm not sure what the implications of that could be. I don't know if it's going to cause a lot of stalls while it allocates space in main memory or video memory. I don't know if it could potentially fragment video memory. I mean, I do release it as soon as I use it. Seems like it shouldn't fragment it, but SDL being the good layer that it is, the downside is that I don't really know what's going on with the hardware, and I need to try to figure that out. So I guess I'll have to look at the SDL code. I took a look at the SDL code yesterday doing some troubleshooting. It's actually a pretty legible code base from what I saw. So I'm not too much dreading. I'm not too much dreading taking a look at that. So that'll be good. So let's talk about in depth some of the changes. You may notice some kind of ugly shit going on in the game screen group entity and some of the simulation files. There's some copy paste stuff going on. I'm not real happy about it. It has to do with the using lenses. This particular lens implementation in F#. I would like to have a more generative way of producing this duplicated code that supports the lenses. I don't think F# supports that, at least not in a really convenient way. Without macros, it's hard to do much to generate that type of code, and obviously we don't have templates. It's probably, I mean, templates are nice when you actually need them, but you also notice that I initialized in SDL.fs. I initialized the SDL TTF stuff. Pretty straightforward stuff. I'm just kind of looking through, see what all happened. I don't know if I'm real happy with the complexity I added to the rendering. See, in rendering.fs, I had to add sort of an extra layer of indirection between the render descriptor and the sprite descriptor or text descriptor, and that was basically so I could make sure that text and sprites can be sorted together, because obviously the sorting of the text and sprites need to be interleaved with each other appropriately depending on their depth. You can't just render all the sprites then all the text. That would not work. Things would be rendered out of order according to the developer's intention. So I added the half implemented GUI text box guy that I did put together is now on the demo. It says hello purely functional world or something like that. Not that many other changes. We're about done here. What else do we got? Yeah, and that's basically it. So It was a struggle. I was a bit frazzled. I must have spent about 3 or 4 hours banging my head against trying to figure out how to render text in practice. But it's in there. The code now works, although it works in a probably questionable manner. I may need to put some documentation comment in there to let myself know that I better look at fixing it or see if it needs to be fixed. I just don't trust APIs to necessarily do the intelligent thing, especially when I myself don't know how to use that API so well. So maybe that says more about me than the API. But all right, cool beans. This is the technical blog. If you got any questions, ask them. And I'll be posting another video later on today about the actual game design, stuff that may be more interesting to a larger audience. All right, take care.